Hi, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is a discussion video. It's a little bit different because I have no notes, and usually I do to try and keep myself on track and not forget important points. But I don't have any notes today. I have thought about this for several months, and some of it is inspired by Ashley at Bookish Realm, who I know I've heard talk about quite a bit, but I believe she has at least one specific video on this topic. So if she does, I will link it in the description. And then also the overall discourse that I see all the time about feeling pressure to read or pressure to get to arcs, or I have to catch up on so many Goodreads reviews and things like that, and just what is actually required of us, if anything, right? And also if reviewer and bookish content creator are just different words for the same thing, or if there's a difference between them. Like, I know Ashley has talked about how being a reviewer and being a bookish content creator are not the same thing, because there's many bookish content creators who they themselves choose not to identify themselves as reviewers. And I feel like I do kind of fall into that camp, because I am not interested in leaving long reviews on Goodreads. My reviews on Goodreads are for me. They are not a synopsis of the book, a breakdown of the book, a critical analysis of the book. This is how I felt, here's the content warnings, and if there's anything that I really need to get out on the page, that's the only time that I'm going to have a longer review. But again, it's kind of for me. Obviously, they are useful to the people who follow me on Goodreads, who have similar tastes to me, to see how I liked a book or why they may or may not, but it is not a review that I write for other people. It really is well and truly, here's what I thought about the book for future Heather whose memory sucks, right? Especially the content warnings. I do that for other people on Goodreads, but I mainly do it for myself because I forget what content warnings are in which book very easily. And I don't ever want to accidentally recommend a book to someone with a trigger in it that really affected them, and I just forgot to mention it, right? So that's what I use Goodreads for, is to keep track of my books and kind of my general vibe on them. I know Ashley, I know I'm mentioning her a lot, but she is someone top of mind for this topic. Ashley is a ranking reviewer on Goodreads. She's in like the top whatever in the United States or North America. And Bethany at Beautifully Bookish Bethany is also a ranking reviewer on Goodreads, where their reviews are so in-depth and so thoughtful, and just it's clear how much work and skill and expertise goes into their reviews, which again is kind of the opposite of mine. Mine are just, I hated him, I loved her, you know, this broke my heart, I cried, I laughed, here's the content warnings. Like, there's not a lot in my reviews. And even here on BookTube, sometimes I have to really remind myself to tell people what the book is about. Because that's not what I am most interested in knowing or hearing. When I'm going to a reviewer, I want what I give, which is why I give it, right? But that is, how did you feel about the book, and what things in the book either made you absolutely love it, or annoyed you, or made you angry, or ruined the book for you. I don't want to pick up a book that you were giving vague descriptions about because you didn't want to do spoilers, or you didn't want to turn people off from the book, and then I hate the thing in it that you hated but didn't tell me. I don't want to read those books. And I really do think that every book is for somebody. You know, every book is a 5-star to somebody, and every single book cannot be for everybody. There's not a single book, not the Bible, there's not a single book that is for everyone, right? Overall, you're trying to get books into the hands of the people who will love that specific thing, that specific book, that delivery of it. And so any reader that is turned off of your book by another review is good for you, because that's one less very negative review on your book, because your book cannot be for everyone. And so it just makes sense to me to try and reach the people who will actually like it, right? So I don't ever feel bad getting somebody not to read a book, because I probably save that author a bad review and that reader a bad reading experience. So for me, I'm talking more about relationship dynamics or specific things in the book that really got a emotional reaction out of me one way or the other. And I do tend to, I think, sometimes focus on the negative, but that's because I don't want to read books that annoy me. And if it annoyed me, I want to try and spare you that emotion. And obviously you can go to Goodreads for the synopsis. You can go to the back of the book or Amazon for the synopsis. So you don't need to know every detail of the plot from me. You need to know how I felt about it. And if your reading taste is similar to me, how you will probably feel about it, and or what might make it work for you. If all my negatives sound good to you, then the book is for you. And you still got a book recommendation from my negative experience. But obviously I kind of assume that people follow my videos because they have similar reading tastes to me and are looking for more books to enjoy. And so I try to be really honest with that. But I don't feel any sort of pressure to do a lot of what the book community does. I don't think that there's anything wrong with anybody doing the things, right? But I don't feel pressure to review ARCs. I don't feel pressure to be on NetGalley or Edelweiss. I'm not on those. I literally don't have an account. I don't feel pressure to read X amount of books. I do read quite a bit. In 2022, I read like 230 books. Which is the lowest I've been since I've been on BookTube, because I've been trying to reduce it because I know for me an excessive amount of books is a sign that I am not doing well. And I am trying not to use books to escape my life to the degree that I'm not living my life, which is a place that I've been before with postpartum depression. So I actually am, really focused on kind of reducing the number of books that I read. So I don't feel pressure to hit a certain amount. I don't feel pressure to hit my Goodreads goal. My Goodreads goal is always something that I think is quite realistic for me and that I will probably pass without any sort of stress. I don't feel any sort of pressure to go in depth with anything. I try to be very mindful of what I'm recommending to people, but I don't know. I don't feel any pressure. I just kind of do what I want, and I assume that if you're watching my video, it's because you like that and not because you wish it was something else. Because if you wish it was something else, I assume you're watching the many people who give that in their content, right? I see all these things about pressure and about, all the things that they have to do, and it's like, but that's not required of you. No one's requiring you to do an in-depth review of every book on Goodreads or Storygraph. No one is requiring you to read all the latest releases and the backlist. I do think, and I always talk about this, I do think that diversity is required, because I truly do believe that if you only read white authors, you are supporting white supremacy, and you are supporting white supremacy in publishing where it is rampant. And I just morally and ethically cannot abide that. Like, I can't be your bookish friend if I believe that that is what you are upholding, consciously or subconsciously. So for me, diversity really is a requirement for me to follow you. But there is no sort of requirement on how many books you have to read or what type of books you have to read. If all you read is steamy novellas, that is okay. If all you read is manga, that is okay. If all you read is children's picture books, that is okay. I am definitely opposed to this elitist, this type of book is superior. And so, of course, I only read 40 books, but I actually, absorbed the information in it. Like, don't be such a prick, I guess. I mean, like, if all you read is 10 books in a year, that's fantastic. Congratulations. But that doesn't make you superior to someone who read more or less, reading 500 books in a year does not make you superior to someone who read more or less. And we make up these weird stories about other people's reading to justify why our reading is still better. And it's like, it's not a competition. None of it is a competition. No one freaking cares. And also, you cannot be the content creator to everybody for everybody. So if you don't get to that book, there are other booktubers, book talkers, bookstagrammers, book twitterers, vloggers. There's plenty of people who did read that book. So if someone is looking for a specific review, someone already created it. It doesn't have to be you. None of it has to be you. You can just make what you like for the people who like what you like, and that be it. I really just don't think that there is. I think that this pressure is an internal one, and that is one that people need to let go of. Like, it's not serving you, and no one's doing it to you. It's weird to me. So I don't know what is required or if anything is required, because I think whatever level of depth that you do it to, there are people who appreciate that depth and who are looking for it. And, you know, there are some people who are really skilled at writing reviews, who put so much time and effort and work into it and do deserve their, you know, the credit that is due to them for that. And then there are people like me who are just never going to do that. And that's okay if that's not what you're looking for. Or if you go to someone like Ashley for in-depth, and then someone like me for, I hated this one conversation and I'm gonna rant about it for 5 minutes, you know? Like, I think that none of us have to be all the things. So let me know your thoughts. I don't know how helpful this was, or, you know, any of the things, but let me know if you might want like a live show with a panel of people discussing this, whether that's what's required or the pressure that they face, or, you know, what they would recommend people to do to balance it all. I don't know. Let me know if you want that. If you don't, you know, and this discussion video already covered everything that you're interested in, that's fine too. I don't know. It's just something that I think kind of has a lot of layers to it, and yet ultimately just comes down to personal preference. And, you know, I wish more people just accepted whatever category they fall into with it. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.